Good morning and a happy New Year, Brewsters. I'm Mix Bustos, and this is Brewed Awakening.
New Year, meet new me. That's the motto for most of us who are trying to move on from 2020. Let's make better versions of ourselves this 2021 with spiritual guru and life mentor Master Del Pe, only here on Brewed Awakening.
Good morning, everyone. This is Mix Bustos once again, and Happy New Year to all. After all we went through in 2020, just about everyone is ready for that fresh start. How can we make our lives better and more meaningful this 2021? Let's get the answers from renowned spiritual guru and life mentor, Master Del Pe. Master Del Pe, good morning. It is an honor for you to have you here on Good Good morning and Happy New Year to you.
Thank you very much, Mix, for getting me into your program, and Happy New Year to all listeners, and of course to your staff as well, and to the Filipinos.
All right, sir. I just want to get this from your perspective. Of course, everybody was saying 2020 was a bad year. It's like a generic, that's like a common term already. But from your perspective, from a mindfulness standpoint, how were the people, how were Filipinos, how was the world affected by 2020, that year that was?
Well, I have seen a very drastic improvement in my business, 4 times our revenue. So in my case, I'm an optimist, so I always take advantage of opportunities, even the worst ones. So an entrepreneur always make benefits out of chaos. So that's how I experience it. But for a lot of people who are pessimists, they always see the negative aspects of the situation. So they were very stressed, they had anxiety, they have depression. So they come to us for healing. So I see that they have been, I would say, wounded in terms of pandemic bereavement or grief, because they felt that they lost their life and they will not be able to return back to normal. So mixed feelings. People who are rich, they were so scared about losing their money and business. The small and medium businesses, I think, had most of the losses because they are not able to operate their business in the real sense of their income prongs. In general, the atmosphere was more anxious, and I would say a lot of doubts, uncertainties, ambiguity, unpredictability, and volatility. But those who are able to see the better side of life, that this is an awakening, as your program is Brewed Awakening, I think this is a human awakening. And I think it's a good thing for people to see the worst conditions while they had experienced the best conditions, so they compare, which is the next step to do to be able to survive and thrive, at the same time to be able to float above the tide and the tsunami of diseases. So I think it's a mixed feeling. In my case, I had enjoyed helping people because that's my service. I have enjoyed helping a lot of businesses to float. I have enjoyed helping families who are survivors of COVID-19. And in general, I've been training a lot of people around the world to cope up and thrive. And the paradigm to be successful has changed. You see, in good times, you have to hope for the best and prepare for the worst. In failing times like now, we have to prepare for the worst and hope for the best. So things are changed.
Mhm. This 2021, was there like a common sigh of relief? At least for people, we see it over social media. Finally, it's the new year. Finally, it's 2021. What is the general outlook, at least for you mentioned that there are people or there may be groups who may be who took 2020 from a different perspective. But do you see a common denominator now that it's 2021?
Well, there's a little bit of a faith and hope because of the vaccines being manufactured now and promised to the populace. But I have also seen that injecting vaccines to people to be immunized for COVID-19 is one thing, but you cannot vaccinate the businesses that failed and people who have lost their job. It does not vaccinate poverty or failing time. So I always go for a realistic point of view. A lot of people think that with the vaccines, things will be solved, but that is only healthcare. But people in the financial district, I think they have different opinions about it, mixed feelings that it might help maybe allow governments to open up businesses, but to a certain degree, people have lost their job. They're still not hopeful for solving the equations of poverty. So I've seen that there's more faith in pursuing, I would say, healthcare because of the quarantine being lifted, and in case the vaccines will work. The thing is, there's a mixed feeling through the news that Europe, for example, now is on its second wave. They've been stricter. Part of America, even California, had been stricter. I think in Manila, we have been a little bit tighter during the holidays because of precautions. But I hope that in this coming month, there'll be more lax dealing with the business openings. It depends all how the Filipinos also maintain the social distancing and being cautious about not being infected unnecessarily. So I think with your program, maybe your listeners will be hoping that 2021 will be a better year. And some people might doubt it because they're also listening to news that it is a second wave now in Europe and part of America. And I hope in the Philippines we're able to deal with the situation. So my hope for 2021 is for those who are used to difficulties, such as the Philippines. We always have typhoons from A to Z. We have always catastrophes like earthquakes and disasters. So we are a culture that had weathered the storm and weathered difficulties. So my standpoint as a Philippine American is like in the Philippines, we are always hit with difficulties and predicaments. So we are used to fighting. Unlike the Americans or the Europeans, they are not used to these big time catastrophes and predicaments. So they're more surprised with certain things. So I'm hopeful for the Filipinos because we are sturdy. We are very strong in terms of adversarial conditions. We're used to coping up. We're used to dealing with situations. We are very adaptable. We are creative. And I think the Filipinos can survive this 2021, maybe with flying colors compared to other countries.
Hopefully. What keeps us afloat? You mentioned, Master Del, that of course Filipinos are resilient. Filipinos are used to typhoons. Filipinos are used to all these types of situations wherein all the jabs and all the blows are just there. But what keeps us there? What keeps us fighting? What is it in us? That is there. It's always there.
My experience is the Filipinos have the capacity to be happy, whether you're poor or rich. The rich people, sometimes they just go for international travel, but they always like karaoke. They like singing. We have always barkada mentality. So if you are not happy with your family, at least you're happy with your barkada. So that diffuses some of the family problems. Because sometimes during the pandemic, social distancing and quarantine brought certain complications. Like if you are in a small house, there's more friction between husband and wife, not able to ventilate, especially if we have one TV and the kid wants Disney characters and you want another program, and then people fight because of the one television thing. But as I said, there's always the diffusion of creativity and pent-up emotions. Like people like beer, people like happy, I would say, singing, karaoke, and also we have always ability to focus on even the movies. We have a lot of movies that makes us laugh, comedy and being humorous, I think, and the Philippine culture is one of the savior, or even for poor people. And also poor people always are happy with smaller basic needs. Unlike Westerners, their basic needs is like a big TV, a big car, Rolex watch, and a big account, a second home. The Philippines tends to be happy even with a small house, as long as the family is happier, as long as we have our basic food, our shelter, our singing, our guitar, our anything that makes us always adapt to situations. So I think that the resilience of the Filipino comes from our capacity to be happy. It does not equate always to the money in the bank. It doesn't equate to how many credit cards you have. We always do not talk about what's your PhD. Are you from UP, Ateneo, or Harvard? We sometimes forget that. Even the boss of a corporation can be talking to a driver and they're happy together, maybe drinking together. In India or America, they don't mix classes. The
Yeah.
Philippines, you can be an entrepreneur and mixing with a waiter or a singer, and you forget about your class. So I think we are able to go across bandwidths and zip codes of consciousness and financial status. And we weather the storm by just being happy and also being sad, but we always cry and then we're happy again.
Mhm. Is this, Master Del, maybe in your years of service, in terms of helping people? Of course, no doubt that 2020 was one of the worst periods of time. But then, when you bounce back from it, when you talk about bouncing back, now it's 2021, 2020 is over. How do you usually help businesses? How do you help people cope from a disaster or from a bad event, right? What is the process through healing and recovery?
I think there's such thing as a crisis rescue. When people are really dying or committing suicide, you need a crisis rescue strategy, which is different. It's an immediate thing. Like when people have a heart attack, they bring them to the hospital. Do not bring them to a healer or a massage therapist. So there's a crisis rescue strategy that we teach people, and there's a crisis management strategy, which is more long term and building up the business or the entrepreneurial aspect of the leader to be able to see new opportunities. I always tell people to focus on what they can do now and what they can do best. Most people are powerless about what they cannot do, and that's what people get stuck into certain kind of unnecessary hole. So if people can focus on what they can do best first, forget about what you cannot do. It's a waste of time worrying. Secondly, is to focus on developing the willpower. The problem is talents fail because the lack of willpower. So intelligent minds are very important to strategize and do tactical planning. But if your plan is good, but if your willpower and stamina is low, you cannot execute. So the problem is not in just designing your plan, but in the execution gaps. So I usually help people in the execution because that is the most challenging. It's not the planning. And also I do help people to do plan B. Another plan when everything is failing or when things are not working as you want it. What are the most urgent, important things that you can do now, which will save you, save your family, save your livelihood or anything? So focusing on a plan B will not surprise you with calamities and crisis. The plan B always include contingency, like what if this gets wrong? What can you do? If you're fired from work, what would you do? How much savings left in your life that you can squeeze? And some people, I have advised them even to go rural because they have only 3 months of survival money and they're paying a lot of rent and they don't have a job anymore and they have so much overheads. So I said, if you go rural and spend that much 3 months budget, you can stretch it to 1 year in the rural area. And with a bigger house, maybe you can even afford a maid, or you can just do a rental and then do gardening. And because right now, tomato in Manila, I think I went there one time and it's 160 pesos per kilo. And I said, wow, it's like gold. So I said, if you are going to spend money in just food and then rent, then there's no savings. So you'll be using your savings for a long time and for a short time. So sometimes I advise people to go rural or at least to streamline their life so that they will save more money for the rainy day. And also to improve the skill sets to be well-rounded so that they can do more jobs. In hiring people today, people need more the managerial and leadership capacity, technical capacity. They need a person who can sell, a person who can market, a person who can talk and communicate. So I think people have to upgrade their skill sets that will commensurate to the failing time. Competition will be very high and being hired for a good job. So they have to be equipped with more tools and more skills so that they will be better than the other competitors in the marketplace. So upscaling, improving skill sets, being a specialist on your line to be the best or second best in your line is so important because people are looking for people who are the best in their line to hire. So if you're competing with 100 applicants in one role or one job, you better be the best of the best so that they perceive you as somebody who can lead, who can manage, who can be also a technician, also a strategist and a salesperson in one, and they will see the value you can add to an organization or something. So you have to be perceived as an expert, a specialist, or the best of the best in your line. And that requires more upgrading of skills, enrolling in workshops, seminars, or improving your communication to impart your ideas when you get an interview. So focusing on what you can do best rather than getting stuck on what you cannot do. And of course, a plan B that will always allow you to surmise any difficulties and to adapt when you are surprised with things that you cannot anticipate.
So 2020, do you believe, Master Del, was a time or a period for reinvention?
Yes,
How did you see people, harness their skills during that
yeah,
time?
I think the foremost thing that I've seen is the awakening of humanity, awakening in such a way that it is not always a good day and a good year. So when people are subjected to difficulties, they become stronger and wiser to the change. But they have first to go to the worst normal. So the new normal that we call now today is not yet the end. The new normal is just the adjustment period to be able to surmise difficulty when the new worst normal can happen. Because I'm an intuitive and I use my clairvoyance and psychic faculty and third eye to look at the future as a spiritual teacher. So I cannot deny the fact that there will be more challenges ahead as an aftermath of not only the COVID-19, but before COVID-19, we have already that failing economy in the US, and they have printed so much trillions of fiat currencies. And so that is before COVID-19. With COVID-19 as a very surprising, unprecedented attack on our lives, it even became worse. So we are not fighting only the pandemic. We are fighting the global economy shutting down and melting down alongside with the pandemic issues, slowing down the business. So it became worse. So what we can do as humanity and as Filipinos is to really adjust our mindset to be able to plan ahead. In good times, you don't have to plan ahead. You just go to your sister who is richer than you and you borrow money and you're fine. Now that's failing time. Most people don't have the money as well. So you cannot just go to a brother or a friend because they're also having a hard time as well. So we need to be practical and be reliable in our planning in such a way that we have the contingency. What can go wrong, we need to plan ahead and work against them. Secondly, we feel that we are wiser after we change. The thing is, we should change faster than the degradation of our depletion of our finances or losing chances. Now, we can only be above the storm this 2020-21 and onward if our speed of recovery is faster than the speed of decay. Now, the speed of decay brought by pandemic, by global economy melting down, by the aftermath, the depression, the anxiety that came from quarantine and social distancing or closing businesses. These are all degrading and decomposition of our social fabric. We need to strengthen our will and the will to speed to recover by all means, by any technique. So the speed of recovery is faster than the speed of decay and social decay. So anyone who can get that equation, the speed of recovery in our family, in our individual prong of business or our own career, when that is possible, anyone in the line of status quo or waiting for solutions by governmental intervention or business miracle will always be ahead because their speed to recovery is faster than the normal humanity. So that is a formula I've always given businesses. You need to do all things that can possibly speed your recovery so that you will be faster than the speed of decay on a normal line. And be wiser. You learn from your mistakes in 2020. Learn to be stronger and to be more mature in dealing with situations. We need to be more instinctive in decision, not waiting for logical solutions by other people, by the government, by other agencies. We need to be more independent in allowing solutions to come, looking at opportunities as they come and grab them instinctively. You cannot say, oh, logically, let me reason out whether I can move to another business, another career or something. We need to go as like a feeling of drowning. You need to go for the air as you can do it. You need a rope. Do not wait for somebody to pick you up. We have to take charge of our lives, our livelihood, our health. And so a lot of reinventing of our ability to heal, ability to prevent diseases, ability to float economically and financially, ability to harmonize with our family and others, preventing enemies. If you have more friends this time, there's a moral support, economical support, there's a, I would say, coping up support. That is the way. You cannot create more enemy by being nasty, by being mean. If we don't have the open heart before 2020, this is the time to open up the heart, so we become more magnetic to attract people to help us. This is the time to invest helping others as much as you can when they need your help, because sometimes you need only one call away when you have helped people. So the law of karma, or the law of cause and effect. When we invest in helping people, we will have the equity to harvest help when we need. When you show mercy now to others, when you have be a help to other people now, we will have something to harvest in the future when we are squeezed. So this is the time to help as many people as possible as an investment to get what we call the good karma, yung suerte. Suerte kasi it doesn't go to people who do not prepare. Suerte and good luck always go to people who prepare for it. May catching basin yan, pero kailangan magtanim muna na maganda so that people will always perceive us as somebody to save when we are dying, when we are needing help. Most people think that they are entitled to be helped when they need to. Yung mga mama's boy, papa's boy, they always say, oh, my mama and papa will help me when I am squeezed. That is in good times. In bad times, the rules have changed. You have to make your own rules, and you have to survive with your own rules of survival. Survival is the prerequisite to sustainability. So if you want to be sustainable in failing times or this year onward, we need to survive. To survive, we need to be safe and secured. So people who are not able even to secure their doors and their homes, and they do not think of safety when people loot their business or somebody has home invasion, we don't even know how to go to the kitchen and say, hey, don't hurt me. So most people are naive and ignorant about survival. This is the time to equip ourselves with survival instincts. Our children should be equipped with thinking smart, not only book smart, street smart. Children are better in survival. We need to reinvent our way of looking at success. In failing times, the formula changes. As I said, prepare for the worst and hope for the best. And there's a saying in, I think, Philippines or globally, that if we do our best, God will do the rest. Most people are not doing their best, so we don't expect God to do the rest. So that's my message to many people.
So many fruitful messages there, and of course, on what you said, Pastor Delon, about, of course, you get lucky when you prepare, and everything that you mentioned about reinvention, and you have to help yourself to be able to speed up the, if I'm not mistaken, speed up the evolution of recovery more than the speed of decay, and that's what really resonated with me. And you have to, deal, and you have to do with your own, not expect others to do it for you, but you have to be able to get out and do it yourself. But then, lastly, as a last point, Master Del, this time in 2020, right, we were all optimistic, although some of the natural disasters, what was happening in Australia, what happened with Taal, a sports figure's death, untimely death, that all happened in January. Now we are in January 2021, not knowing what the future lies ahead. How do you think we are going to deal with adversity and stress? Do you think we are a better people now, knowing what we've overcome before?
Yeah, there are many kinds of people. There are 8 types of human design. The Mother Teresa will always pray, and God will give them mercy. The George Bush type or the Duterte will always fight their way to go to heaven or to solve things. The artists and the entertainers will always laugh and tell humor to solve their stress. The entrepreneurs will always hire somebody to massage them. They can afford it. They can always hire a dancer to dance in front of them to be entertained. The scientists will always find solutions through vaccine and medication. The bureaucrats will always find money somewhere to make them float. The mystics will always find solace in their meditation and so on. The soldiers will always serve patriotically to feel good about their lives. So there are many ways of responses based on the 8 types of human designs. So whatever design you are made of, you have to study your strengths, your vulnerabilities and weaknesses, your opportunities that will come out of your strengths, and your risk and threats based on your weaknesses. So people have to do your SWOT analysis, your strengths, your opportunities, your weaknesses, and your threats. So you can see the whole perspective of your life and how to respond to anything, whether it's difficult or just normal. So I have been training people how to use now this old age SWOT analysis to be able to look at their opportunities rather than their threats. A pessimist will always look at the threats and get stuck on what they cannot do. Now, we have to help them to see the other side of the game, to be optimistic so that they can see the opportunities. Now, the superiority complex can also have a blind spot to always see all the possibilities, but not the pessimistic aspect, which can also be the blind spot of superiority complex personalities. We need to balance the analysis of our strengths so that they can be used to see opportunities, whatever they are. We have to analyze our weaknesses and our vulnerabilities and our weaknesses, our vices that can kill us, that can make us go down, and overcome them as much as you could. Like, for example, COVID-19 is not the real killer in the Philippines. Heart disease, 16 people die every hour in the Philippines because of heart conditions and heart attack. Second is hypertension that leads to stroke. The third is more Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, and senile decay. And so what kills us is not always from the pandemic. So even you're hiding in your own room because of quarantine, what kills you is your blood vessel, your heart disease, your food. So we need to start to think practically that I'm hiding from the virus, but I'm not hiding from my existing comorbidity and diseases. People have to really be in charge of healing their health conditions, because doctors are more busy dealing with the pandemic and they cannot even go to the hospital anymore. And it's difficult to go if you don't have transportation, because some people don't have the cars. So we need really to be realistic in this equation, that dealing with stress really is, some stress are created by us, by our own perception about how difficult life is. So you have to learn from the optimists how to deal with opportunities. And we need to learn also from the pessimists to be a little paranoid to avoid diseases by being scared about dying and being sick, because it's expensive and it's gonna shut us down from our livelihood. So both ways, balancing the yang and the yin, male and masculine and feminine aspect of decisions, we have to really look to equip us. One, willpower development to increase your will and stamina to cope up. Second, to develop a better decision making so that we can really see things properly and realistically. Third is to be more group conscious, be able to group ourselves with people who will help us, and we help them ahead of time. And fourth is to budget time, your talent, money, and be realistic that whatever's available, you cannot just tell a lie now and say, oh, I have more money. How much is more? How much is enough for how many months can we survive with this amount of money? People have to start to write, list down, budget, meet the family and discuss what is real, that we have only 3 months to survive. If we do not cut our expenses, if we do not stop buying from the mall, we are going to be in trouble in 3 months. How do we stretch this 3-month money to go to 6 months at least before we can solve our financial issues? So I think people have to be more practical, be realistic, be group conscious, be good in decision making, look at the bigger picture while acting on the daily nitty-gritty of tactical decisions, and listen to programs like this that can give you more empowerment, more ideas, paradigm shift, to listen to new speakers who have different opinions, because there's so much opinions in the marketplace right now. But there's something that will knock on your head and your heart that says, this is what I need to do. This is my principle. This is non-negotiable in my decision. I will not sacrifice this for this. Once you know your non-negotiables that you don't want to sacrifice in your life, that will be your cornerstone and North Star to make decisions that will not make you the big mistakes and blunders when you have surprises, when you have panic attacks, when you have so many confusing ideas from everyone. You have to be able to put your North Star, your non-negotiables, your principles, your values, and your most important priority that matters most in life, and don't negotiate them because that is your core value. And I think with this, many people have a certain question maybe that can be asked, so they can always look for us. I have a website called masterdelpe.com. They can look for the program. And we have programs coming, like conventions coming. May I announce it here?
Go ahead, go ahead. Actually, that leads me to my next
Okay.
question. We have a convention coming up. It's in 2 days. Go ahead, Master Del.
Okay. I'm the founder of a healing modality globally. I am a Film American, but I feel better being a Filipino. So I came back from the US after 30 years of being there and living globally, and came here because I have a vision that the Philippines has something to offer to the world that the world doesn't have yet. It is the spiritual and mystical and the healing power of the Philippines that has been here since the Lemurian time. You know, there's Atlantis, there's a big continent called Lemuria, and the Philippines happened to be in the center of the healing power of the earth during that time. And it can be reenacted and repotentized. And that's why I came back from my world life to be here in the Philippines, because when I have consulted my psychics around the world and my own intuition, I have seen that the Philippines becomes the healing center of the world, a spiritual center that will heal not only the pandemic, but the new waves of diseases that combines poverty, depression, anxiety, burnout, sleep, and all kinds of constellation of diseases that cannot just be healed by pills because they're so complicated and complex that only the healing aspect of energy, herbs, energy medicine, and lifestyle change, and all kinds of spiritual solutions can do that. And we have known about Mount Banahaw, Mount Makiling, all kinds of psychic healers, psychic surgeons, psychic dentists in the Philippines. We have the most psychics in the world. Having studied all modalities that you can think of, having lived in the Himalayas and have an immortal teacher and many, many teachers have taught me about the healing arts and sciences, I've seen that we have these things in the Philippines. And so when I came back in 2015, I thought that reinventing healthcare and putting the healing sciences as a front line, not just a back line, and healthcare is a great thing to do. And I promise that I will make the Philippines as one of the center of the world on the healing aspect of diseases and incurable diseases of that. So I'm very proud to be here in the Philippines and put up our healing village called the MTV Village and train many people globally to come back here and help us institute the reinventing of healthcare. So I put a weed. I am the founder of 3 institutions in the United States, and one of them is the World Institute for Incurable Diseases, which deals with incurable disease and non-medical responders, things that cannot be easily healed by medicine. So like COVID-19, HIV/AIDS, and all kinds of difficult cases, including the dark night of the soul when you are depressed, not because of diseases, but because the soul is awakening you to change. I have a book on that, The Beyond the Dark Night of the Soul. And I have encountered many diseases that can be healed, not by curing them, but by healing them. And the total aspect of healing comes to mind. So we have this convention in January 10, 5 hours, and then January 17, 5 hours again. And it's 8 p.m. to 1 a.m. the Philippine time, and it's international, involving 35 countries. And many speakers around the world are coming to speak online. So you can do this at the comfort of your home. You can be in pajama and listening, and don't have to travel here. And this is going to be presenting all the healing modalities globally, and how the healthcare has become a challenge to humanity, and how we can augment the best of the healing sciences with the medical sciences to marry. As the new medical system absorb the healing sciences, we have the new healing and healthcare of the world. And that I'm proud that I am the proponent, I am the founder of this convention and this healing modality, and I'm sharing it to the Filipinos now. And I would like to make the Philippines as the center of healing and spiritual tourism.
All right. So there you have it. That will be on January 10 and January 17, the Wheat Healing Convention. Of course, Master Delpe, thank you so much. I just absorbed everything and just, it was an honor for you to guest here in Brewed Awakening. And of course, for our audience and for our for everybody who's watching Brewed Awakening. I hope that was a very fruitful and timely 30 to 40 minutes on the reinvention in 2021. And I hope that this will be a better year for everyone. And the kettle has whistled once again. We'd like to thank Master Delpe for sharing his insights. We'd also like to
Mix,
thank our partner. Yes, sir.
I'm sorry. I'd like to inject the idea that we will be giving 5 free passes.
Oh, there you go. Yes, yes. Yes, yes. Go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
And I'd like to honor your program and your talent of bringing a lot of good news to the Filipinos. And I hope that you have more power to do them, and you have more people like you who are game changers in societal change and transformation. So congratulations for being one of the pioneers in this line.
Thank you so much, Master Delpe. And of course, this is Brewed Awakening, brought to you by Kickstart Coffee. We'd also like to thank our partner project, Ripple. I'm Mix Bustos. We'll see you again next week for another well-rounded discussion here on Brewed Awakening. Thank you so much, Master Delpe. And to everyone, Happy New Year.